Ethical nihilism is a philosophical position that asserts the absence of objective moral values and denies the existence of any intrinsic moral worth in the universe. It's a position that challenges traditional moral systems and calls into question the foundation of ethics itself. In this lecture, we delve into the intricate realm of ethical nihilism, exploring its origins, key proponents, criticisms, and implications for our understanding of morality. As a philosopher, I invite you to join me in this intellectual journey as we grapple with one of the most provocative and unsettling philosophies in the history of thought, the origins and historical development. Ethical nihilism has deep roots in the history of philosophy, emerging as a radical response to traditional moral frameworks. It can be traced back to ancient Greece, where philosophers like Protagoras famously proclaimed, "Man is the measure of all things." This relativistic view laid the groundwork for later nihilistic thought, as it challenged the existence of objective moral truths. One of the earliest philosophical expressions of ethical nihilism is found in Friedrich Nietzsche's work. Friedrich Nietzsche critiqued the traditional morality as seen on the genealogy of morality, which laid out the foundation for the development of ethical nihilism in the 19th and 20th centuries. Nietzsche argued that traditional moral values, such as good and evil, were mere human constructs imposed upon the world, devoid of any inherent meaning. He famously proclaimed the death of God, suggesting that the decline of religious authority had left a void in which morality had lost its entire foundation. Key concept and proponents. Ethical nihilism, as a philosophical stance, can be divided into several key concepts. 1. Moral skepticism. Ethical nihilism begins with a fundamental skepticism with the existence of objective moral facts. Nihilists argue that there are no inherent moral principles or values that exist independently of human beliefs and judgments. Value subjectivism. Nihilists often adopt a form of moral subjectivism, asserting that moral values are entirely dependent on individual or societal preferences. This view posits that what is considered morally right or wrong varies from person to person and culture to culture. Moral anti-realism. Ethical nihilism is closely aligned with moral anti-realism, which denies the existence of objective moral facts and argues that moral statements lack truth value. According to this view, moral claims are neither true nor false, but merely expressions of personal attitudes or feelings. Prominent proponents of ethical nihilism include philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, and Richard Rorty. Sartre, in his famous existential philosophy, rejected the idea of inherent moral values and argued that the individuals must create their own meaning and values in a world devoid of pre-established moral norms. Camus, on the other hand, explored the absurdity of existence and the indifference of the universe to human morality in his works such as The Myth of Sisyphus, which I would highly recommend reading. Rorty, a contemporary philosopher, questioned the objectivity of moral values and emphasized the role of language and rhetoric in shaping our moral beliefs. Criticisms of ethical nihilism. Ethical nihilism is not without its critics and has faced several significant challenges over the years. Number 1. Moral pragmatism. Critics argue that ethical nihilism, by denying the existence of objective moral values, may lead to moral relativism or even moral nihilism, where anything goes. They contend that some form of moral guidance or principle is necessary for a functional society. The problems with moral motivation. Ethical nihilism raises concerns about moral motivation. If there are no objective moral values, what motivates individuals to act ethically or adhere to any moral code? Critics argue that ethical nihilism may lead to moral apathy or breakdown in moral behavior. Ethical paradoxes. The denial of objective morality can give rise to ethical paradoxes. For example, if all moral values are subjective, can we condemn morally abhorrent actions like genocide or child abuse? Ethical nihilists may struggle to provide a satisfactory answer to such questions. Implications. Ethical nihilism challenges our most deeply held beliefs about morality, and it forces us to confront the possibility that there is no objective moral values in the universe. While it is a provocative and unsettling position, it has had significant implications for our understanding of ethics and human existence. Ethical nihilism encourages us to critically examine the moral values and principles that govern our lives. It calls for a greater awareness of the subjective and contingent nature of morality, which can lead to a more nuanced and open-minded approach to ethical discussion. discussions. Ethical nihilism highlights the importance of individual responsibility and choice. In a world devoid of objective moral values, individuals must take on the burden of determining their own ethical principles and actions. This can be liberating, but also daunting. Ethical nihilism remains a contentious and challenging philosophical position. It calls into question the very foundation of morality, challenging us to rethink the ethical beliefs in a world where objective moral truths may be absent. While it may not provide definitive answers to the moral questions that have plagued humanity for centuries, ethical nihilism serves as a powerful reminder of the complexity and ambiguity of moral philosophy, pushing us to engage in ongoing philosophical reflection and dialogue about the nature of ethics and our place in the universe.